So heat exchangers means you are extracting the heat from the system, or you are adding heat to the system. So you can have heaters for adding the heat to the hydraulic fluid. You can have coolers to remove heat from the hydraulic fluid. So what are the different types of heaters available? You can have a simple electrical heater, just like you are having a water coil which you are using in a bucket of water to heat the liquid. Similar things you can have for the hydraulic fluid. It is operated by electrical power. You supply the power, the temperature of the oil is going to increase. Now, if you are not having any agitating or any mixing arrangement, then what happens is, whatever the hydraulic fluid that is present very close to the heating coil, only that fluid will be its temperature is going to rise very much as compared to all the surrounding fluids. Now, if the temperature rises beyond a particular value, then it may catch fire or it may get oxidized. That is also possible. So whenever you are using a heater like a coil or something, you have to make sure that the fluid is continuously in motion. Otherwise, a fluid which is present very close to the coil, its temperature will increase beyond acceptable levels. Because whatever sensor you are using in the hydraulic fluid tank or any indicator you are using, that is only measuring the temperature near the sensing element. Other regions it is not able to measure. So we will say that it measures only the average temperature. But whenever you are switching on the heater, near the heater, the temperature will be very, very high. So it may be more than the acceptable temperature. So usually when we say heater means, it should have some kind of agitation element so that the temperature is more uniformly distributed. That is a coil. In some cases, if you are having a pipe through which the fluid is flowing and you want to increase the temperature, then also it is possible. You can have coils all surrounding the particular pipe and you can heat that particular pipe and the pipe will get heated, which in turn will heat the fluid that is flowing inside. That is also possible. Or you can also use infrared heating arrangement. You can supply the power to the infrared light that will create the heat energy and it will cause the radiations and it will increase the temperature of the oil. The next one is the cooler. So cooler means it is used to reduce the temperature of the oil. So you can have air cooler or you can have water cooler. So air cooler means you are having the fluid which is flowing through a pipe, and this pipe on top of it you are allowing the air to flow through it. So you can have a fan or you need not have a fan depending on the temperature rise. If the temperature rise is high and you want a very fast cooling, then you should have a fan which will create a flow of air. So whenever you are having a flow of air, more heat can be extracted from the hydraulic fluid. Water coolers. Water cooler is just like your radiator which is present in your four-wheeler. Air cooler is nothing but just similar to your refrigerator, where you are having a heat exchanger on the backside, or in your bikes you are having certain fins and other things to reduce the temperature of the engine. So that is the example of air cooling. So here whenever you say air cooling means the hydraulic fluid is passing through the tubes, and from the tubes the heat is carried away by the air. Then it is air cooling. From the tubes, if the water is used to remove the heat, then we'll say that it is a water cooling. So you are having tubes through which the hydraulic fluid is flowing. Then you are having a jacket surrounding the tubes through which you are pumping water, cold water. As the cold water comes in contact with the tubes which are carrying the hot oil, heat exchanging is going to take place and the temperature of the hydraulic fluid is going to reduce. So these are the two main types of heat exchangers. Now heat exchangers can be present near the tank or it may be present near the actuators. That is also possible. If your hydraulic fluid is flowing through a very large system, then by the time it is reaching an actuator, its temperature can increase beyond the acceptable level. So in that case, near the actuator, you are having a cooler which is trying to reduce the temperature of the oil. Now if you are using a hydraulic system in a very cold environment, then you may be having the hydraulic reservoir in a sealed environment and the actuator may be present in the open to atmosphere. Then what happens is when the fluid is reaching the actuator, its temperature has dropped significantly, then it may freeze. That is also possible. So what you will do, near the actuator you will be having something like infrared heating element, or you may be having a coil, or you may be having a pipe which is having a inbuilt heating element. So near the actuator, you are heating the oil so that it is having the required temperature, so that it is having the required amount of viscosity. for the actuator to work in an efficient manner. So whether heater or cooler, the main idea is to maintain the proper temperature of the oil. If the temperature of the oil is right, its viscosity will also be at the required value. Only if the viscosity at the required value, then only we will say that it is operating in a very efficient manner. Otherwise, you will be having lot of power losses.